Hey everyone, it's Rain. Hope you're having a great day. We're coming to you with another Commander update. As you can probably see from the title, this one's going to be for the Wandering Minstrel deck, aka our Final Fantasy deck. This is the end result of all of our pack openings and one additional side purchase. So starting off with our Commander here, we have the Wandering Minstrel, a very fast to get out green-blue cost minstrel with all 5 colors, and the ability lands you control enter untapped. And that's really useful for us. And then it has the Minstrel's Ballad. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more towns, create a 2/2 elemental creature token that's all colors. And we actually even have said token. It's this one right here. Super cool. And it has also pay 3 plus Wooburg. Other creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of towns you control. So, with that being the case, I'm going to jump specifically into the lands. Mostly because we have a couple of them that are just the basic ones. Those are not the concern right now. We do have a bunch of towns. So as you can see, most of them are multicolored. Most of them come intact. But with our ability, that's a-okay. Some of them have additional abilities like the Golden Saucer and also Eden. Some of them literally are just nice and basic. Some of them have sorceries that are added to it, like this one, which allows you to mill opponents target opponent mills half their library, rounded down. There's also the Insomnia Crown City, Guado Salam, Zanarkand with also its own adventure, Clive's Hideaway, Charade Nation of Scholars, Starting Town. This land enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game. Lindblom, Gone, and Baron. So, that's the basic townlands. As you can see, there is about 20 of them. So, when you compare that and add that with your commander, that is a really good start. And then on top of that, we do have ourselves some basic lands and some, well, no basic lands. Some interesting ones like your command tower, a slippery karst, a night market, university campus, suburban sanctuary, majoring network, sunken citadel, savage mansion, Celestina guildgate, and a rogue's passage. All in there for their own purposes. There is one other land, but that is in another set here that I'm going to be showing you here shortly. This is also a big component of this deck that I'm looking forward to showing. We have the Earth Crystal, the Water Crystal, the Darkness Crystal, the Wind Crystal, and the Fire Crystal. All of which will be in this deck. And when you actually look at all of the abilities on these, there are some really nice ones. I'm just going to do some quick adjustments. We have all 5 colored spells will cost 1 less when all of these are on the field. The Earth Crystal gives it so if one or more 1/1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many counters are put on that creature instead. You also have distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures you control. So that could really build really quickly, and you'll see later why. You have, if an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill that many plus 4 instead. Plus also each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in your hand, which could be gross. We have the Darkness Crystal. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and you gain 2 life. And I can put target creature card exiled with the Darkness Crystal onto the battlefield tapped under my control with an additional 2 1/1 counters on it. So the synergy is just building already. And then you have weight spells. You cost one less. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. And creatures you control gain flying and lifelink until end of turn. And then finally, with the fire crystal, creatures you control have haste, and also create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of next end step. So some lovely broken combos there. Next one I'm going to show you is a lovely artwork combo. So I'm going to just set it up like this. Bear with me. Look at that. And we got Noctis, Aberrant. We have Fishing Gear. We have Flash Photography. We have Campsite Cuisine. We have a Chocobo Camp, which is the other land. And then we have a Warrior's Resolve. And these end up making a artwork, which I'm going to move you guys. Ends up looking like this. Don't mind me. So, we have, with Noctis, whenever a creature you control enters during combat, you may attach target equipment you control to target creature you control, as well as Warp Strike, exile Noctis, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, untapped and attacking at the beginning of that player's next declare attacker's step. It can't be blocked at combat. So you can just get in and absolutely tap someone. Especially when you mix it in with the Fishing Gear. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. If you don't, create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. And then you can also have the Chocobo Camp, which also pairs well. I'll move these out of the way. The Chocobo Camp it enters tapped unless you control a legendary creature, aka our commander. It has add a green. When you next cast a bird creature spell this turn, it enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it. And you can pay 4, including 2 green, to create a 2/2 green bird creature token with with the landfall abilities. AKA, I do have one here, right here. This lovely little bird, aka a Chocobo. And then we have Flash Photography. You may cast a spell as though it had flash. It targets a permanent you control. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent. And it has flashback. Because give me a pose, I'll never forget. Then you have your Campsite Cuisine. Whenever this enchantment or legendary creature enters, create a food token. And whenever you attack, you may sacrifice X foods. When you do, up to X target creatures each get +3/+3 and gains trample and indestructible until end of turn. So all sorts of lovely abilities here. And then finally we have Warrior's Resolve. Creatures you control have training. And at the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with a 1/1 counter on it that attack this turn, draw a card. So, again, some lovely combos. And you can make some broken things when paired with the other stuff. Honestly, I think we should go... This is a smaller pile. We'll just do the smaller piles and leave the creatures for last. So this one is actually the mix of the instants, the sorceries, and a single enchantment. We have A Realm Reborn. Other permanents you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. We have To the Crystal Tower. Choose 2, counter target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponent controls, and or draw a card. We have Tifa's Limit Break, which is a 1 cost, or a 3 cost, or an 8 cost with 2 green. That being the case, its target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn, or triple target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Which is a lovely combo, especially with some of the creatures that we have in this deck, and plus the +1/+1s. We have Restoration Magic, which follows the same principle. Smaller cost of 1, 2, or 5. It has target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible. It gains hexproof, indestructible, and I gain 3 life. Or all permanents I control gain hexproof and indestructible, and I gain 6 life, which could help me in the long run. Then we have Reach the Horizon for land draw, aka basic lands and or towns, which will help us in the long run. Always does. We have an Overkill. Target creature gets -0, minus 9,999 until end of turn, which is, I mean, you think of some of the people who just do things and they go, I go until like 3,000. Here you go. Minus 9,999. We have Search for the Frozen Esper. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life. Esper Origins. Surveil 2. You gain 2 life. And if it was cast from a graveyard, exile it and put it onto the battlefield transformed. And it comes with a flashback cost, which is lovely, because it turns into Esper Madoon. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, put it into your hand. Gives you 2 mana of green. And then on its third turn, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. So it's a very useful spell. Especially because it actually gives extra bonuses. And then we have the Wild Rose Rebellion. Counter target spell. Nice easy counter spell. We have Thrum of the Vestige. Deals 3 damage to any target. And that's a lovely lightning bolt. And then finishing up, we have Ultima. Destroy all targets and creatures and the turn. For when someone is going too excessive and just needs to be put to a stop. Next we have the artifacts. Again, nice and simple. This is a mix of a handful of equipment and couple of interesting ones. So we'll do the artifacts first, or equipment first. We have the Sage's Nautilus. Gives you job select, creates a 1/1 hero or colorless hero token, and that creature gets +1/+0. And whenever it attacks, untap target creature, attacking creature, and is a cleric in addition to its other types. And I think I do have a cleric card in here. I think Cleric is just a nice easy one where it doesn't really give too many additional bonuses. It also has Hygenia equip 3. Then you have yourselves a Red Mage's Rapier. Job select does the same thing. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +2/+0 and is a wizard in addition to its other types. That one I know for a fact I have. I will have to go back and look for the cleric. And then we have the Black Mage's Rod, which also turns them into a wizard. So, nice little combo there. And then the last 3 we have is the Ring of Lucille. Gives us some colorless mana, and also gives us the ability to pay 1 life, tap target non-land permanent. We have a Phoenix down. We can exile it and either return a creature from our graveyard, or exile a target skeleton, spirit, or zombie. For when someone runs those lovely black decks that are just full of the undead. And then finally we have our mana rock of a Blitzball. Add 1 mana of any color, or go! Sacrifice the artifact, draw 2 cards, activate only if an opponent was dealt combat damage by a legendary creature this turn. So, now we're through this bit. The last and only thing left is the creatures. And some may say my deck is a little unbalanced. Mostly because of the fact that I don't have as many lands as some people would like. But that's because I couldn't decide who to take out. So we'll just run through them. We have Torgal, a Fine Hound. Whenever you cast your first human creature spell this turn, that creature enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each dog and or wolf you control, as well as tap for any mana of any color. We have ourselves Vaughn, a street thief. Whenever one or more scouts, pirates, and or rogues you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast it. If you don't, create a treasure token. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put a 1/1 counter on each scout, pirate, and rogue you control. Then we have Gladiolus. Enter, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle, and he has a landfall, which gives another target creature you control gets +2/+2 and trample. Then we have the Emperor of Palamecia, which gives us a tap, add 1 or red mana, or 1 blue or red mana. Spend this mana only to cast a non-creature spell. Not that we have a lot of non-creature spells, but it does help. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then if there are 3 or more 1/1 counters on it, transform. What transforms her into? The Lord Master of Hell. Starfell. Whenever the Lord Master of Hell attacks, he deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature non-land cards in your graveyard. So, nothing too drastic. At the most, we'll have maybe like 10, 15 points of damage, but even then, that's still a lot. Then we have Ultima, Origin of Oblivion, flying, and whenever it attacks, put a blight counter on target land. Take away all of the abilities and the colors and the land types and abilities. Make it a colorless land, aka a waste. And whenever I tap a land for colorless, add an additional colorless. This one's a little cheap. I'm going to say, and a little bit cheeky. Summon Primal Odin. It has a 3-step, and the 3-step on it is rude. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. That player loses the game. And then draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. So he comes in and ends the game for one person. And then we have a Zidane. Comes in, it's very cheap. Enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. And whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token. Then we have Hope Estheim, or Estheim. And he has lifelink at the beginning of your end step, where each opponent mills X cards, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. So, but thinking back to the stones, that could be a lot, or to the crystals, not stones, that could be a lot of life and a lot of milling. Then we have Ravun, Bull of Alamigo, with ward, pay life equal to his power, and whenever he attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target attacking creature. We have Garnet Till Alexandros, 17th. Also known as Lorna of the Third Path. Vigilance. Enters, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. And tap, you and the target opponent each draw a card. That's a kind of group hug. Then we have Judge Magister Gabranth. Menace. Whenever another creature or artifact you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then we have Joshua. This one's a fun one. Joshua's Phoenix Dominant. Enters, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Pay 5, exile Joshua, then return it to the battlefield transformed. And Joshua, as the Phoenix is dominant, turns into the Phoenix, Warden of Fire. For the first 2 turns, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then on the 3rd turn, it returns any number of target creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then exile it and return it back as Joshua. Total mana value 6 or less. So that's an interesting one to say the least. Definitely gives us a hand. And then the next one is also a flip card. It's Cecil Dark Knight. Death Touch, and whenever he deals damage, I lose that much life. And then when your life is less than or equal to half your starting total, transform. And Cecil becomes Cecil, the Redeemed Paladin, with lifelink, and whenever he attacks, other attacking creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. So, there's a reason I keep Cecil around. He will be my long game, especially if I'm already losing. And then we have Vandal Adventurers. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. Then we also have Ignis. He enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped, put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. As well as, I've come up with a new recipe. One of my favorite quotes from all of the games. I do not care. I love it when I hear it. Pay 3, tap. Exile target card from your graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, create a food token. Then we have Squall, Leonheart. First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. Aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. We'll move this pile out. Then we have Jill's Shiva's Dominant. Oh. And we got, when Jill enters, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Exile Jill, then return it to the battlefield transformed under the battlefield, under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. And it also has target creature can't be blocked this turn for 2 turns. Tap all lands your opponent controls, exile Shiva, and return it back as Jill. And we have a handful more. Next up, we have Vanat, Heart of Hayden. It has whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. As well as Heroes Sundering, 7+ tap, exile target non-land permanent, and then transform Vanat, which transforms her into Heartilly, the Mother Crystal, Indestructible God, Blessing of Light. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control. Until your next turn, it gains Indestructible. If that creature is legendary, draw a card. Making her a lovely addition to the team. She doesn't revert back, but at the same time, real hard to get rid of her. Next up, we have Prompto. He's really nice with his haste, as well as the selfie shot. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, create a treasure token. We have Titus, Zanarkand Faith. He's a 2, also known as Circeus Triton Hero, Merfolk Wizard. With pay 4, scry 1, then reveal the top card of your library if it's a land card. Put it onto the battlefield tap, otherwise draw a card. Could also be a partner. We have Rinoa Heartilly. Enters, create a legendary 1/1 green and white dog creature token. Or named Angelo, which we also, I do believe, have. We do have Angelo. And it has Angelo Cannon. Whenever Rinoa Heartilly, struggling with her name. Whenever Rinoa attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. Then we have another Vaughn, Aspiring Sky Pirate, different than the original Vaughn. With haste, whenever he attacks, create a treasure token, and whenever you sack a treasure token, Vaughn gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And then we have Diamond Weapon. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent card in your graveyard. With reach, And immune. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to diamond weapon, which is lovely. And then we have Aerith Gainsborough. Lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Aerith. And when Aerith Gainsborough dies, put X 1/1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of 1/1 counters that were on her. Next, we have the Ancient Adamantoise. It is a lovely 8/20 with Vigilance and Ward 3. Damage isn't removed, though, which is the difficult part. All damage that would be dealt to you and other permanents you control is dealt to this creature instead, and when it dies, exile it and create 10 tap treasure tokens. Now we're into the more interesting side of the deck. We have a couple more flippies, so we're going to run through those really quick. First up, we have Clive, Ifrit's dominant. When he enters, discard your hand, then draw cards equal to your devotion to red. And exile Clive, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its control. Activate only as a sorcery, and it turns into Ifrit, Warden of Inferno. Ifrit fights up to one other target creature with his 9/9. And his second and third ability is add 4. If it has 3 or more lore counters on it, exile it, and then return it to the battlefield. Back is Clive. So he just comes in, absolutely wrecks shop, throws a bunch of fire around, and then that's about as far as he goes. And then we have Fang. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. And Vanilla, Cheerful Sea. So Fang and Vanilla, when she enters, mill 2 cards, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. And at the beginning of your first main phase, if you both own and control Vanilla and a creature named Fang, you may pay 5. If you do, exile them and meld them. And turn them into... Bear with me. Just getting this all set up, and if you haven't seen it before, it's Ragnarok, Divine Deliverance, and this is the alt art form, which is actually really sick. A legendary creature beast avatar with Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, and Haste, and when it dies, destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Which is really lovely because at the end of the day, we can throw him back on the battlefield real easily. Next up, we have Exdeath, Void Warlock. When he enters, I gain 3 life at the beginning of your end step. If there are 6 or more permanent cards in there, transform him in your graveyard, transform him. And he turns into Neo Exdeath, Dimensions End, with Trample, and his power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Next up, we have Jecht, Reluctant Guardian, Menace. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may exile it and turn it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. We're flying through these ones, I promise. And it turns into Braska's Final Aeon. And each opponent discards a card, and you draw a card for the first 2, and each opponent sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice. Which is just ruthless. Plus, it's a 7/7, so he can still hit you on each of his turns if he wants. Next, we have Garland, Knight of Cornelia. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1, and pay 3 plus 2 black, 2 red. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield transformed. Garland turns into Chaos, the Endless. Flying, and when Chaos dies, put it onto the bottom of the owner's library. So he also comes back. And the last flip card of the deck, I am absolutely certain. Oh, I also missed another enchantment. But we'll save that for later. So Vincent Valentine, very nice, 2 black. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a number of 1/1 counters on Vincent Valentine equal to that creature's power. and whenever he attacks, you may transform it. And he turns into Galleon Beast, which went blurry, with Trample, lifelink, and when he dies, return it to the battlefield tapped. So he just turns it back over. Which is hilarious. It's just like, and I transform. I block your attack. I'm back as Vincent. We'll throw the enchantment in because I missed it. Triple Triad. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles the top card of their library. Until end of turn, you may play the card you own exiled this way, and each other card exiled this way with lesser mana value than it without paying their mana costs. Which is lovely. Now into the last little bit, we have some lovely ones that pair well with our crystals abilities. First up being Tifa Lockhart. Trample whenever a land enters under my control. Double Tifa's Lockhart. Tifa Lockhart's power until end of turn. So she can really get growing and get really big. We have Cloud, Midgar Mercenary. Search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And as long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Imagine him with a fishing rod. We have Absolute Virtue, which is the reason I ended up building this deck. This spell can't be countered. Flying, you have protection from each of your opponents, which I thought was just ruthless. Then we have Vivi Orienter. Been deciding what to do with this card for a while, and I figured this is a good deck for it. Has a 0 cost, add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is Vivi Orienter's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on Vivi, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So really, it gets real fast and real easy to get that one broken. Next up, we have Lightning Army of 1, First Strike, Trample with Lifelink, and Stagger. Whenever Lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or a permanent that player controls, he deals double that damage instead. Lastly, we have 3 left. Golbez, Clad in Darkness. Legendary creature, whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Golbez deals 1 damage to each opponent. Each player mills a card. And then we have Orphan Cocoon Fal'Cie. During each of your turns, you may play a land card and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard, which is lovely. And then the last one is a caveat. I am just going to say, I know this is not legal. This is not for group play. This is strictly just for fun. But Astral Titan, Primeval Titan. 4+2 green, 6/6. I know it's not legal in Commander. It's still in this Commander deck. Trample. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you may search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This is the reason it's in here. Once everything is going the way it's supposed to, it just exponentially grows the deck, or the landfall, turns everything into a little bit more stronger, and really, it's just too much fun with this, because everything would come back in tapped. Yeah. Lands you control enter untapped. So there you go. At that point, I hope you guys enjoy. I appreciate you guys checking it out, and I will continue to bring you new content on the regular. So peace, and see you next time.